Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm well. I can see you're sporting the Farce Line hockey jersey that you showed us and debuted on last week's episode. However, now you are actually wearing it. Can anybody pick that up, or is that one you had to have custom designed?
I had to have it custom designed.
Okay, but it is possible.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, there's somebody out there in the world that would like a Farce Line jersey, hockey jersey like yours. How would they go about doing that?
Oh, man. I'll have to find what that website was again. It was
Okay.
some random Facebook thing.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'll also check in with us, Flesh Room producer Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Well, if you really like the design, you can pick up the Flesh Wound Farce Line shirt in our shop link in descriptions. And also that lovely shirt Ozzy V is wearing again.
That's
for us
right.
this week.
UEW, voice of the underground, Ozzy V. A lot of people would be upset over me saying that, but I do not give a... So there we are. All right. So this week we do have the pleasure of reviewing and discussing the 2012 comedy Ted. Todd, if you have a trailer available, could you please roll it?
I can.
Thank you.
That was Fan's idea, by the way.
It has been said that magic vanished from our world a long time ago. But if there's one thing you can be sure of,
I wish you could really talk to me.
it's that nothing is more powerful than a young boy's wish.
You're my best friend, John. I love you.
But eventually, everyone grows up.
I'm taking Lauren to dinner. You don't think she's gonna be expecting something big, do you?
It's been 4 years, Johnny. You and me have been together for 27 years. Where's my ring? Huh? Where's my ring? Put it on my fuzzy finger. Where's my ring? Come on.
Knock it off.
All right, I'm just saying. That's my bad. I was sending a tweet. John. Hi, Thomas. How are you?
If you please ask Ted to move out so we can move on with our lives.
I'm not that psyched to just like kick him out.
Oh,
Laurie, hey, you're home early.
who are these girls?
Oh, my God, where are my manners? Laurie, this is Angelique, Heavenly, Shireen, and Sauvignon Blanc. I swear to God, her name is Sauvignon Blanc. Show her your Chevron card.
You gotta move out. I'll help you get on your feet out there, I promise.
Bring it in, you bastard. Come on.
I love you.
Sorry, that's the thing.
The old...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
I met a girl.
Nice.
She's a cashier. You know what I like to do to her? Something I call a dirty fuzzy. Down here, not looking up your towel, swear to God, not looking at your funny business.
Sometimes I think back to that Christmas morning when I was 8 years old. I wish I'd just gotten a Teddy Ruxpin.
Why are you crying?
My junk gets squished by the TV.
I look stupid.
No, you don't. You look dapper.
John, I look like something you give to your kid when you tell him grandma died.
That was the trailer for Ted, released on June 29, 2012, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 46 minutes. You have writers with Alex Sulkin, Wesley Wild, also Seth Macfarlane, directed by Seth Macfarlane, and as the voice of Ted, Seth Macfarlane. Also starring Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis, featuring cameos from Patrick Warburton. Just hilarious. It was great to see. Everybody knows him from Family Guy, so it's fun to see some people from that show within the... Greg, I'm sorry. Did I say something confusing?
And Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. Sorry.
Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. Right. I understand. So I'm sorry, Greg. You had an update on that site if somebody wants to get a custom jersey.
Oh yeah, fansidea.com.
There you go. Just in
It
case.
takes a while. Yeah.
How long did
But,
that take you?
Probably about a month or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So,
there you
but
go.
yeah.
Now,
Okay.
how long have you been waiting to show us?
Oh, it's probably been about 2-3 weeks. Let me tell you, not posting it on Facebook's been real tough.
Right.
So-
All right. So back to this film. Ted, again, released June 29, 2012, rated R with a runtime of an hour and
Wasn't
40.
that your birthday, Aussie?
It was not the year, but the day it was. So initial thoughts on this. I must have been too drunk on my birthday to see this because I'm not sure why I didn't go see this on my birthday. But I hadn't. This was my first time watching this. I had just never gotten around to it. I had always wanted to see it because I was obviously a fan of Family Guy, but just never got around to it. So I was really glad that it finally had a chance to come up and brought some interesting moments that I'll share with shortly. Greg?
Yeah, so first off, I'm glad we're doing this episode for it to come out on 311. And as someone who's just recently started listening to 311 again, I find it very fitting that this kind of stoner comedy is coming out on 311. But yeah, so this is an interesting movie to have watched for me because I started watching the TV series before watching the actual movie. And I think it kind of twisted how I enjoyed this. So this was a first time watch as well. And yeah, it's surprising because it's right in my wheelhouse of the kind of movies I'd enjoy watching. But I'm stoked that we finally had an excuse to move forward with it. But yeah, I do find I think I enjoyed the TV series a little bit more so far. I haven't finished it yet, but it's still been fun to watch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Todd?
I'm kind of indifferent on 10. Like even when I watched it back in 2012, and even now, I think the show worked against it for me because the show is exactly what the movie should have been, in my opinion. And that's was always missing from the movie. So watching the show and seeing that deliver what I wanted out of this makes rewatching this one. It's if you're Family Guide out, watching the Ted movies is probably not a good idea. I think if you're still into that, it works better.
Right. I guess that'd be appropriate because I don't regularly watch Family Guy. Not that I ever have regularly watched it, but every time I see it, I'm entertained. So I think that's why for me this worked excellently in its intent. I'm not actually familiar with the TV show, so for added context there, anybody watching, if they're fans of the TV show versus fans of the movie or vice versa, I'd trust your opinions, or I'd trust listening to Greg and Todd when it comes to kind of comparing and contrasting with the TV show. But in terms of this movie itself, what I appreciated about it is that it started with such a good amount of heart that almost anybody can relate. Like it's a very sweet story in it on paper, but how things evolved is very organic, and how like if there was a talking teddy bear, how would things be 20 years from now, 27 years from now, or whatever. And I was intrigued to see that just because, like, as we saw in the trailer, we had a fight scene. There's a teddy bear fighting somebody. And even while watching that scene and then watching it in the trailer just now, I had such an appreciation for, the CGI, to do that. It was great. But just the idea of itself, like, man, this teddy bear is beating the crap out of this guy. Like, just because he said he wanted a Teddy Ruxpin and said, that got me pretty good. But I would not say that is the favorite moment. My favorite moment actually caused me injury. And I'm dead serious. And this might have been, okay, so I hadn't had anything to eat yet. throughout the day, and I'm watching because I'm helping my girlfriend run errands, so she's driving around. I'm watching on my phone, and we had stopped and gotten coffee, but I hadn't had anything to eat throughout the entire day, so I think I was loaded with a bunch of caffeine, and I'm watching
Oh
this.
no.
Yeah, right. And I'm watching this, and we get to the part in the movie when John's his name, Mark Wahlberg's character. He's trying to guess the name of Ted's love interest that he met in the supermarket. So he starts going through the names, and he's like, nope. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to do a speed round. And then he lists off all these names, and I am dying as he's laughing, as he's saying these names. Like, I can't breathe, right? And then when it's the response with no, and then he says, okay, any one of those names with the Lynn after it. Yes. And it was more like I couldn't breathe. And then I had another jolt of laughter that it made me feel like both my shoulders dislocated and then popped back into place. And like, I it's like I don't know if I might have had a mini heart attack or not. But like, I had to take a break. I got a headache after that moment, and I needed to take a break from the movie after that. I'm not kidding. I didn't come back to see the rest until the next day. I'm not even kidding about that. And I don't know if it was because like it was around like 3 o'clock where this moment happened, and I hadn't had anything to eat. Usually when if it gets that late and I haven't had anything to eat, I usually get a headache. But it was that massive amount of laughter that instigated it, I guess. And I had to stop, and I didn't end up watching the rest of it until the following day. So that's how much it intensely made me laugh. Is I literally needed a pause for the day from it. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to pick this back up tomorrow.
Brilliant.
You know what I noticed as I'm watching more that stuck out? Mila Kunis' character is very much a nagging mother figure the whole movie, and it's really annoying. Just notice that this time.
While you're at it, would you care to share your favorite moment from the
I
film?
guess I will, because I do have a few.
Okay.
And it was like, and they were from just like side characters, random, like Tom Skerritt, randomly yelling, "My daughter better be alive, you sick son of a bitch." Just that. There's a couple lines like that. The Ted Danson,
Oh yeah.
I was the king of the 80s. I think that one though is my favorite.
I gotcha.
I don't know.
I gotcha.
That's fair.
Greg?
Look, my favorite part almost caused a divorce between my wife and I. Yeah. Because there's a scene where Ted loses an ear, and he goes to escape. And when he's running out, the door starts to close, and the Indiana Jones music plays, and he grabs his ear last second. And I'm laughing, and my wife goes, "Oh, is that something Indiana Jones does or something?" And I was just like, I had no words, but the scene was brilliant in the movie, at least.
Yeah, that's pretty good, and I understand where you're coming from. But just a quick note, because Todd, you mentioned the Ted Danson segments. There's just very brief. It's practically a cameo, and I also wanted to shout out the cameo from Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't say a single word at all, but like he still gives it his all in what he's doing, and absolutely like just I cracked up both times you saw him. Just that's cool.
They got him cheaper because he didn't speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what was the deal. Like, we'd love to have you do a cameo, but we can't have you speak. We can't afford it. And he was probably just like, all right, whatever, I'll do it anyway. Or just, I would love to hear that story of that, how that manifested. And then Ted coming over like, yeah, he was there with that weird Van Wilder looking dude.
That one got me good too.
I really enjoyed those kind of jokes, like where he also said, no, I don't sound like that guy, I don't sound like Peter Griffin, or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that, like, a lot of the jokes just feel like they could have just been throwaway and thrown into Family Guy. They weren't like movie specific. And that's I'm kind of burnt out on Family Guy, so that was kind of like. But yet on the show, it doesn't bother me. But I mean, because if you get down to the core of this is a sitcom turned into a movie, even if it never was a sitcom before. It's 100% a sitcom premise. It's like Alf. I mean, so
well,
I think
there's
it
a
works
joke about Alf where Ed McMahon thought he was Alf, and
right. Well,
but
I think the TV show, what's great about it is you've got the more innocent, like younger character, like being with Ted, who's definitely a different, a little bit more crass and such. So I think that like balance between the two like really helps the show a little bit more than what this is. But I do have to say, like, I have a question for you guys. Now, in the show, Ted's voice is where he's currently at. But when he's first brought to life, it's a very high-pitched voice. So is it a conscious decision, or does he go through like Teddy puberty? Like, what changes his voice from young Ted to older Ted?
I'm gonna go with it's Teddy Bear puberty too. There's no logical.
Well, so there's a segment with the movie where it basically showcases him as the child star. And the narrator's like, just as any Corey Feldman, and goes over all these like lists of child stars. And then you see the headline, Ted caught with mushrooms. Like I can imagine during his press tour or while he was like uber famous or whatever, that's when all of a sudden his balls dropped, I guess. Which, by the way, speaking of which, I do like the line, hey, it wasn't bad for a guy without a penis. Believe me, I've written several letters to Hasbro about that. Like, that's at least a line that's specific to the movie.
And from Ravi Shankar's daughter, that is brilliant.
That's his daughter?
Norah Jones?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say this movie, I think if you cut it down to 90, like this is one example. I don't know if we need the unrated version because it's just like an extra 12 minutes. I want a nice cut, tight 90-minute movie. Even in the arc, in the regular cut, it's at like 145.
146, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know.
Interesting.
This comes from that era. They were like trying to make every comedy long, like 40-Year-Old Virgin's like almost like 2.5 hours. Yeah. For the unrated.
Pineapple Express is over 2 hours.
Yeah.
For the unrated. I think Superbad was closer to that too. But I would think that I don't know. It's hard to say because movie comes out now that's 85 minutes. Like, is the studio going to be happy with that?
They are. I am Drive Away Dolls. 82 minutes. Beautiful ride. I like a short movie. Give me a 90-minute movie.
I'm right there with you. Yeah. I mean, unless we're doing action, then I think you could push it to 2 hours. But if we're doing comedy, I think we should stick to 90. I think that's fair.
I'm giving action 145, 147 max. That's the new rule. As long as the Terminator 1, it's too long. And you can't bring up Terminator 2 because it's Terminator 2. That could be 4 hours. No one cares.
Masterpiece. Masterpiece. Okay, so I won't forget this time, but before we go into the Aussie TV show segment, let's go ahead and give the ratings. Greg, you want to kick us off?
Man, this one's rough because I did enjoy it. I think I'm still gonna give it a 4. It's got a good story. It had some great laugh out loud moments. I do think had I not seen the TV show, maybe I would be higher because I really am enjoying the way they utilize the characters in the TV show. But it's still a solid movie, so I'll stick with 4.
Todd?
I am giving it a 3. I'm still, not my favorite. I like the premise. Maybe it's just the fact that, like, I feel like with Marky Mark in this, they should be out beating minorities. It doesn't feel accurate to me. So.
Well, what I appreciated him in the starring role is that he really leaned into the Boston accent.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about that real quick. My buddy from Boston, Chris, who's also been on numerous shows.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, from Boston. The first thing he said after
he sounds just like me. He just like me. I do that just like me. You're just like me. Yeah, I remember Chris.
Yeah, he was like,
I remember
he-
Chris.
I know you do. He watched after he watched. He loved the movie, but he's like, Marky Mark has the worst Boston accent. I'm like, he's from Boston, like straight up. He's just yeah.
Well, I have a general opinion when it comes to Boston because I grew up a Showtime Lakers fan. So I don't
my
even need to
earlier
say
comment.
anything else. I don't even need so like the fact that he's leaning into the accent and then they're making fun of women from Boston with the accents in terms of those who've seen the movie understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is I have not seen the TV show, and I would not describe myself as somebody who is Family Guide out. I mean, I'm going to be honest. When Greg and I were living together with other roommates, that would be the only time I'd watch any Family Guys when it was on the TV in the living room. I would never actively go out to like DVR it and then like, oh, I got to see the latest Family Guy, whatever. If it was on the TV, I'd sit down for a little bit and watch whatever. So right now, as I sit, I'm not like tired of like him or that kind of humor, and I haven't seen the TV show.
And you haven't seen the second film either.
I have not seen the second film either. Having said that, and I'm only giving context to my score here because we're going to be varied in our scores, and I want whoever's watching this to understand where we're all coming from. For me, it was a 5 because I've never had a movie make me laugh so hard that it induced a near migraine headache.
I'm gonna put an asterisk on that because you had an 8.
Okay, let me just say this. So, Greg, we opened up and you said this was a stoner comedy, which I definitely agree with you. I would just recommend anybody who is choosing to partake during this film, stick with something that's going to calm you down a little bit, because I don't want anybody to have the same situation I had. And I think if I was, at home on a couch with some relaxing remedies, I probably would have been able to finish the whole thing in one sitting, which technically I still have yet to do. That would just be my recommendation. So if you are so inclined, actually, this is not available currently as of March 3rd, 2024.
It was as of February 29th, but Ozzy had to wait too long.
I did have to wait too long. So it is available wherever you purchase your favorite digital content. And I don't know, it's tough to say. If you have not watched the TV show and you're a fan of Family Guy, but not Family Guide out, you'd probably really like this movie. Although if you're kind of Family Guide out, you might not like the movie. Or if you watch the TV, Greg, would you describe yourself as being Family Guide out or not?
Oh no. I
see. Okay, so I think we found a perfect So Todd rated it a 3, right? And that was he's watched the show, he's Family Guide out, and he's seen the sequel. Greg, have you seen the sequel?
I have not.
Greg has not seen the sequel, but watches the TV show and gave this a 4 and is not Family Guide out. I am not Family Guide out, have not seen the TV show, have not seen the sequel, have only seen this, and I gave it a 5. So
are we getting a Venn diagram of this?
I'm trying to give that visual to somebody, whoever's listening to whoever's watching. So
I'm just going to say this. The second one might not help the case. The first one.
Ooh.
Are you saying second one's better?
No.
So
I don't know. You could give it another 5. All I don't know. We'll have to find out.
We'll have to find out soon enough. So this concludes our review of Ted. Feel free to check it out. Now, just moving on before we head out for the evening to the Aussie TV show segment. Now, as I mentioned, I'm just going to go ahead and kick this in right now. Every week, I'm going to be hosting trivia. Actually, for the week of St. Patrick's Day, I will be on vacation, so I'll be hosting trivia nowhere the week of St. Patrick's Day. However, this week I will be hosting Monday at the Rush Barn Grill in Lake Forest, beginning at 6:30. Tuesday at the Brewery in Placentia, beginning at 7 o'clock. Wednesday in Los Alamitos at Griffin's Grill at 7:30, and Thursday in Anaheim at the Honey Pot Meadery, beginning at 7:30. It's always free to play and prizes for the top winning teams. And with me, only me, no other freaking trivia host in the entire world will provide songs as twisted clues, so to speak. And this is something only I do. No other host, no other company does that. So having said that, when I get the questions emailed to me and I read through the answers, I'm frantically trying to pick songs that I can manipulate into being clues one way or another. Okay. So one of these answers is rapid or lightning. Lightning is in there. And I looked up Merriam-Webster synonyms of lightning. And when lightning, in the context of fast, one of those synonyms is swift. I was like, okay, I need a Taylor Swift song. So I asked my girlfriend, hey, I'm in a hurry. I need a Taylor Swift song. And she says, you need to calm down. I said, no. I need the name of a Taylor Swift song. Apparently, that's the name of a Taylor Swift song. You need to calm down. Literally, that is the title of the song.
You got who's done first.
Yeah.
It was that kind of situation. Exactly. So we go to, we're at the trivia. I'm performing. She's actually in the crowd. And I play this song and I'm listening to it. And then I hear her sing, you're being too loud. You need to calm down. And that stuck in my head for a second. And when I revealed the answer to be Taylor Swift, and I said, funny story about this, I needed help to just find any Taylor Swift song. So I asked my girlfriend, I need the name of a Taylor Swift song. And then what I did exactly with you guys, you need to calm down. I did that and the place loved it. But then I told him, I was like, and after playing this, I think the real reason why she picked it is because there's a line that says, you're being too loud. You need to calm down. And I see her in the corner and she is laughing her ass off in tears. That's why she chose that song, is because there's an actual lyric that says, you're being too loud. You need to calm down. That's TV show moment right there. It might not be Alf, but it's Ozzy. All right, that concludes the Ozzy TV show segment for this week. Tune in next week for some more
rate
fun.
that?
No, we're not. No, we're not, because that's always going to be left as a mystery. So, but we're going to be back next week reviewing another film, and we'll be back later in the month with an episode of Flesh Wound Fist as well. So please be sure to pay attention for that. Do you guys have anything else to add to before we head out for the evening?
See you next week.
See you next week, indeed. For Flesh Wound producer Todd and world-famous juggler Greg Larson, I'm Ozzy V. We'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.